You all. That was very lovely. So today I'm talking about from one come many. And I want to remind you that religious science is the correlation of the laws of science, opinions of philosophy, and revelation of religion applied to human needs. That's what Ernest Holmes, our founder, had to say when he was explaining religious science. So from one come many. Edward Kanzi, who wrote the book Buddhist Scriptures, said, one in all in one. If only this is realized, no more worry about not being perfect. Knowing that you are perfect, whole and complete, just the way that you are. And our diversity, our differences, our quirks and unique qualities are all just a unique expression of the Divine One. From Rumi, I want to share this. Say, I am you. I am dust particles in the sunlight. I am the round sun. To the bits of dust, I say, stay. To the sun, keep moving. I am morning mist and the breathing of evening. I am wind in the top of a grove and surf on the cliff. Mast, rudder, helmsman, and keel. I am also the coral reef they founder on. I am a tree with a trained parrot in its branches, silent, thought, and voice. The musical air coming from a flute, a spark of a stone, a flickering in metal, both candle and moth crazy around it. Rose and the nightingale lost in the fragrance. I am all orders of being, the circling galaxy, the evolutionary intelligence, the lift and the falling away. What is and what isn't. You who know Rumi, you, the one and all, say I, who I am. Say I am you. So I think that is a way of uniquely expressing the diversity of the way spirit shows up in so many things and in so many ways. Science is now giving powerful evidence that we are actually literally all connected. Research has developed the single origin hypothesis. The Y chromosome mutation that appears in men all over the world first appeared about 60,000 years ago in what is now known as the scientific Eden. And in the scientific atom, the fossils that were located in East Africa, meaning that those fossils in East Africa were the fossils of the original scientific atom found in the original Garden of Eden. So science has now declared in this hypothesis that we are all descended of black men in East Africa. I think that is such an irony for the fundamental Christians.
Yes, but they didn't, the world didn't exist 60 million years ago, or 60,000 years ago.
60 million. I think it
Well,
was.
whatever number you said.
Well, apparently it did, because they found fossils there that
But
were.
you know, the fundamental Christians say no, so they don't have to deal with it.
Oh, I see. Oh, excuse me. I misunderstood your point. So we are all connected through our original DNA. And the scientists, Larry Dossey and Amit Goswami, who you may know from What the Bleep, and other well-recognized scientists have declared that when DNA is entangled, there is communication, non-local communication, so that we are all in connection from that non-local point of view through our very basic DNA with all humankind. We can pretend that we are separate. We can pretend that we are individual, which we are, and yet we are all part of the whole. The many from that one. That many from the unique expression of spirit. Now, I don't want to misstate that this is about science, because it is about spirituality. Science is now just proving what shaman and gurus and philosophers have known forever, that we are one expression of that divine unifying force. And we are in unique communication with all humankind. It cannot be otherwise. I am you and you are me, and we are all that is the one. So there's been some conversation where I grew up that I learned in elementary school about Native Americans and how they would communicate sending smoke signals. Remember that? I gave that a try a couple of times. Almost set fire to a couple of blankets. And couldn't get the puffs to show up in just the right way. But what has come to light is that the smoke signals are like ringing the doorbell or ringing the telephone. The purpose of a smoke signal in so many native cultures is just to say, hey, I have something I want to communicate with you. And the communication came from that intuitive, non-local communication. So the smoke signals was like, hello, pay attention, I'm sending you information. And then the information was sent via intuitive knowing. We all have that capacity. How many of you have made a conscious thought about someone giving you a call or coming to visit you, and lo and behold, they show up? That happens to us so often that we have a tendency to discount the phenomena of it, and we call it a coincidence. What a coincidence. And a coincidence keeps happening, and they say coincidence or God remaining anonymous. Eric Michael Lindenthal said this: each person you meet is an aspect of yourself clamoring for love. Let me repeat that because I think it's great. Each person you meet is an aspect of yourself clamoring for love. We know that. We know the truth of that. Ernest Holmes said, God makes everything out of itself by becoming the things it makes. God makes everything out of itself by becoming the thing it makes. We are infinitely connected. We are the it. We are each other. We are one with the one. We're the many of the one. Empathy is natural to us because it is unfiltered. We feel the feelings of others. We feel and know until whatever happens to us, that we get enculturated out of that knowing. We are told that that's not the truth. That's not reality. It's time for us to be able to remember the reality of who we truly are. We are all of it. We are it. Just as Rumi says, everything that shows up, everything that we see, everything we acknowledge is who we are. Last week I talked a lot about intuition. And once more I want to remind you of the powerful steps for that. How you can reclaim your intuition. How you can clear away all of the debris that keeps you separated from the knowing of who you are. So reminding you to meditate. And when you meditate, you are aligning yourself with that is. It's like you're sending up your own smoke signal to say, I'm here. Communicate with me. Tell me, speak it to me. Let me know. What is mine to do? What is my job for today? To be that unique expression of the divine spirit. The other thing is to listen to other people. Being present fully and completely without that conversation going on in your head about what you are going to say when they stop talking. Just listening fully and completely. And then allowing yourself to feel. Feel what is being expressed, what is coming off of other people, the kind of vibration that you know that you can relate to if you are listening and present. So those 2 points of how to cultivate your intuition. The third is to pay attention to your dreams. Knowing what you dream has meaning. It is part of the universe and part of your deeper self communicating with you. They're like personal smoke signals. Dreams are like, hey, listen here. And yes, there's sometimes they don't make sense. Sometimes they feel like they belong to somebody else. That they're not even your dreams. They're not even your thoughts. That's the entanglement, the entrainment that we have with other people. Yeah, we can walk into, I believe, other people's dreams, other people's lives, and know what's going on with them. Paying attention to your hunches, and then keeping track of it all with a journal. So, that's really the whole essence of knowing that from the one comes the many. We are each an aspect of that one divine whole essence that we call God, that we call the Creator. And science is proving it for us. Science is saying to us, yes, it's all spirit. whatever language that scientists choose to use, the truth of it is they are proving to us, showing to us that what the shaman and what the philosophers have known is the truth. That we are all connected. We are entrained. We are entangled with each other. And so when we see people who are homeless, we can empathize with them. When I was growing up, my mother had this phrase, and I think I've shared it often, but my mother used to say, "But by the grace of God go I." And I worked so hard to make it clear in my 8-year-old words that that was me. By the grace of God, there go I. I am that. I am thou. We knew that as children. You take 2 babies and put them in the room. If one starts crying, the other one is going to cry in sympathy. They're connected, and they know they're connected. But we intellectualize our way out of that knowing. It's time now to intellectualize ourselves back into that knowing, and to spiritualize ourselves back into that knowing. When one suffers, we all suffer. I was thinking about that fellow in Tiananmen Square stopping the tank. How powerful a vision that was. And as he stepped up in courage, he lifted us all up in courage. He reminded us all of who we truly are. And then when someone behaves despicably, with cowardice, with cruelty, that pulls us all down. That is part of who we are. So it's our job as spiritual beings to act from that higher place, to act from that more empathetic, loving space, so that we lift all of humankind up rather than dragging everyone in humankind down. I guess most of you have heard of that Ho'oponopono, the therapist who went to a mental prison in Hawaii, and it was such a dreadful, horrible place. People would walk with their backs against the wall for fear, because there was so much violence, so much cruelty, and so much madness in this space. No one wanted to work there. And the therapist went there, never saw clients, never saw patients at all. He sat in his room, his office. And what he did was look through the case studies, and he had 4 phrases that he used. They were, "I'm sorry," "Forgive me," "I love you," and "Thank you." And knowing that he was part of their madness, part of their sickness, he apologized to them on that higher plane, that ethereal plane. And within a short period of time, all of the clients were released, and they eventually shut the prison for, I'm using this term, the insane asylum down, just based on his work. So that is a tool we can all use. Just knowing that from that quiet, still place, we can lovingly touch other people in a very deep way. Just by saying, and not just giving voice to, but by internalizing those 4 steps. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I have contributed in that field of consciousness that would lead you and allow you to be behaving in such a despicable way. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me for my part of the collective consciousness that has contributed to your illness. I love you. I love you. And then, thank you. Thank you for the forgiveness. Thank you for accepting the love. Thank you for allowing yourself to be touched by my love and my concern. We can all do that. We can all heal the world in our own place, in our own space, by meditating and communicating and loving. So yes, these bags are for homeless people. But what it really says, more than anything else, when we give to someone, we're saying, forgive me. Forgive me for a culture that has allowed us to create lack for anyone in this space that is so prolific with wonderment. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I love you. These bags say, I love you. And then thank you. Thank you for allowing me to touch you. Thank you for allowing me to acknowledge your godness. Thank you for allowing me to acknowledge that God that you are. So when you give away these bags, I would invite you to do that from the same place of deep reverence for someone. And knowing that, not by the grace of God go you, but just knowing you are they are you. You're the one with the bag today. Someone will give you a gift tomorrow. Giving and receiving from that same place of knowing that we are all connected. So, when I say to you, I love you, and namaste, I'm saying that from the deepest place. So I would invite the practitioners to join me while I clear my tears. As we just hold each one of us in the knowing that we are one of the one. As we allow ourselves to settle into that deep understanding that as we sit in the chair, we are connected from the heart space. We are the glorious, amazing, loving expression of that I call God, whatever name you want to give to it. Just acknowledging that We are the solution. We are the love. We are the peace and the harmony of all that is. There is no separation. And so right now, at this moment, allowing ourselves to recognize that we are filled with the love and the energy and the vitality and the vigor and the dynamic laughter of that is. We're the light of it all. We have so much to give and to share. And what we have to give and to share is who and what we are. Godlings, expressions of the divine. And so in this deep space of entrainment and entanglement, I call forth good for each one of us, for each human that is present in this room, for each human that is part of our spiritual community, for each human that is part of our greater community that we call Reno Sparks, and the greater community that we call Nevada, in the greater community that we call the U.S., in the greater community that we call the world, in the greater community that we call the cosmos. We are all part of the whole, part of the one. I know that all is well. It cannot be otherwise. So I invite you to join me as we celebrate the good that is ours by divine right, and allow ourselves to feel lifted up by that good, to share it, to give it away, to be the love that we seek and that all others seek. I invite you to own that with me as we say forcefully and with vigor. And so